that book in my face. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much.
How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm excellent. I'm great and happy to know that it is a young person who is prioritizing literacy in the country, in the continent. And talk to us about this. Let's talk about Soso and her first phone. Let's talk about its impact on the
Yes.
digital well-being of our young ones. What inspired the book?
So I always relate the story of how it was during a time where I spent a lot of time with family. We had a lot of family gatherings, and I just observed that a lot of the little ones were on their phones a lot. They were not
Mm,
socializing, they couldn't partake in all like the family traditions with the cousins that we used to do. And I was like, no, man, I don't think that's good for the kids' brains and their development. And it
mm,
so happened that at that time, I was doing my honors in educational psychology. So that really brought like a great insight into bringing the story alive. And I was like, I need to say something about this because I think it affects a lot of people as well as myself. I was also a bit addicted on my phone.
mm.
So I was like, imagine the young ones. So that's where it stemmed from, just from observing the pattern and the behavior around the little ones.
Mm. So most people, what they do when they observe things is that they criticize, they judge. Not much action is taken. They just have, robust debates, and it pretty much ends there. You said, "Give
Yeah.
me a pen, paper, and privacy." Talk to me
Yes,
about
yes.
the decision now to put it together into a work of art.
So I think, when you study psychology,
Mm,
naturally you observe behavior and it comes with a lot of empathy as well, trying to understand why is it happening? You're not always coming from a place of judgment. So, like I said, when you study educational psychology, it takes you through like the developmental stages of children and just like the background of why they do the things that they do at that
mm,
stage where they are. So that really helped me a lot to try to piece something so that it helps them, because for me that was a great indicator that there's possibly a problem here that we might have. And I'm pretty sure it's not only my little cousins that are, probably exposed to this. There's many more little children. So I think sometimes children learn through storytelling. It's what I've learned. It's way more effective than actually telling them, "Don't use your phone," or
mm.
don't do this, and don't do that." So I think through storytelling, I wanted to create such a fun, engaging, and relatable way for them to learn. Also, making it quite memorable as well.
Yeah. So now what's the difference between what we normally write and children's books, Because I feel like you also have to speak to the attention span of the average child, which is also influenced by social media. So it's kind of like a catch-22 situation, right? What are some of the differences also in the way and the manner in which you put the writing, the colors that you use, the diction that you use? Talk to me about that process.
So before I go into my writing process, most, most of the time I study, the type of writing that I would like to emulate. And then I think it's very important that children's book are quite relatable. So I try as much as I can to write in a language that children can understand, especially in the South African context. Make it very familiar to their surroundings, to, the parental figures, the settings. It's very important that they recognize that, because that actually increases their engagement. So I try to bring it into that. And in terms of the what's this, the illustrations, I was
Mm,
so blessed to have such a publishing team that really prioritize that.
Mm,
They made sure that they brought the characters to life, making them look very relatable and familiar for little children.
mm,
And yeah, it isn't a long story. So the attention span can also is actually considered in there.
mm-hmm,
So I try as much as I can to make it relatable, to speak to a little Lebu or a little Tumi or a little
mm,
Karabo, and they can see themselves in the story. I think that's what sticks with them.
mm. And in terms of partnership now and distribution, I think that is very, very important. So let me first ask before I ask this question: are you self-published?
No, I'm not self-published. I traditionally published Soso. I think I was very, very blessed and lucky to be afforded the opportunity to just traditionally publish.
I think I might have phrased my question incorrectly. Did you self-fund this?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay, so now I can ask about partnerships. In terms of the people that you
Yes.
decided to work with, the people that you wanted to tag team with, on this project, I feel like there must be a lot of synergy when you are working with certain people. So talk to me about that, establishing those partnerships.
So I just pretty much went through the submitting process just like any other author would.
Uh-huh.
And I guess my current publishers, Lingua Franca, they saw the value of the story and
Mm,
they decided to invest in it. And yeah, I'm really grateful because it has been such a great partnership. They
mm,
really understood my vision, and that's like, the ethos of the organization, trying to bring out the educational value. And most importantly, relatable stories for the young average little child in South Africa. So that was also very important for me to have a team that shares the same vision, that prioritized, um, the impact of 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 the children more than anything, and also the quality. I think the people that have bought it will say that it's actually like laminated. So you know how kids sometimes they spill or they sticky fingers. This book caters for it.
yeah.
Kids can actually enjoy it in the midst of that. So yeah, just having a team that prioritizes kids and the educational value through it all was just as important.
Mm, mm. I'm really loving this because I'm thinking about the parents, right, who are faced with the
Yes.
Soso and her first phone. You can barely get any chores done in the house the moment the little ones have their
Mhm.
phones. How would you want parents to feel after reading your book? Because the one thing that I know with parents, they actually also read the books that their kids are reading to make sure that the content is appropriate, right? So how do you want them to
Yeah.
feel after reading your book?
So funny enough, my character struggles with balancing, her chores and her responsibilities as well as with the phone. So it's only when her mom takes away her phone, then she starts, getting her life together and, getting back outside to playing and. So I think what was important for me is for the parents to also realize how important it is for them to bring in the moderation, because at the end of the day, kids are just, kids, so it's only until a parental figure just, comes in and shows them the right direction. I think that's when a huge portion of the story actually has more power. So I would like little children to recognize themselves in the story. Not only that, but to realize how important it is to balance, right? So it's not necessarily alienating technology, but just the importance of bringing in the balance, because at the end of the day, we do need technology. It really helps us in various ways. So just for them to say, I can use my phone just for like 30 minutes, but after that, I would really like to go play with Tando after this at the park. And for parents to say, okay, Nana, it's the weekend, you can have your phone, it's okay. But maybe during weekdays, that's when we're a bit strict. So yeah, it's just mainly about moderation and just making sure that their brain development is enhanced and taken care of as much as they can.
Where can we find it? Where can we, look for it? Are there any events coming up? What's next on the list of amazing things that we're going to accomplish this year?
So the book is available at Exclusive Books. It's available on Take a Lot, at Book Circle Capital. It's available at various bookstores in South Africa, as well as Loot, as well as the Lingua Franca online website. And then upcoming, I actually have a few signings coming up I'm so excited about at Exclusive Book. Greenstone as well in the next Saturdays in June.
Wow.
I'm just actually trying to rectify the dates, but I do have a few book signings. So if you can join me. I think on the 14th and the 21st.
Oh, wow.
I've got a couple of book signings, but I will just validate that on my social media. So yeah.
And we're on social media, honey. Let's keep up with you.
Hey, so you can find me at Bosizzle, so that's BOSIZZLES. On Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you'll just find me there.
Bosizzle for shizzle my nizzle. Thank you so much for your time today. I had absolute fun talking to you, and well done. Well done on not being the youth that is so used to judging and criticizing without any action being done. And I look forward to those signings. I really do.
Thank you so much. I hope to see you there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Bosele, and I look forward to what you're going to do in the future.
Thank you so much for having me.
Fantastic. It is 6:41 Central African time. That was Bosele Boikanyo Teke, who is a South African writer, academic, and sports broadcaster. Love the fact that she is a jack of all trades, man. I mean, being able to have your foot in so many different industries is quite inspiring. I'm still continuing with the question. 5 things that you are grateful for today.